Once again, welcome back to another segment of Hwange Chronicles, where we have the Honourable himself is going to introduce himself. But here we're just about to get the environment and get the people in the community know about what we're about and what is it really going about in the community. So.
Greetings to you and greetings to the viewers. My name is Daniel Molokele from Hwange.
Yes.
Son of the coal, one of the coal.
Yes.
I was born at the #1 colliery clinic. And I grew up from first year to about 14 years. I spent my entire childhood at the #1 colliery. And I did my primary school, grade 1 to 7 at St. Ignatius Primary School. So I only left Hwange when I was 14. I went to John Calak near Zimbabwe for my O-level studies. And then for my A-level studies, I went to Fletcher High School in Vero. After that, I went to the University of Zimbabwe and I was at the law school for 4 years there. And from there, I went to Bulawayo. I practiced in Bulawayo and I worked in Bulawayo for 5 years. And then after that, I went to South Africa for 15 years. After that, I came to Zimbabwe. I've been in Zimbabwe for about 7-8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice to meet the Honourable himself and the Member of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. And we're just getting to catch up on what is he beyond about and what is he really getting inspired to. So, just an actual question. So, me as a young kid, right?
Yeah.
There are young kids out there. What really inspired you to get in politics? Being a kid from the core.
I think right at the time when I was born, my father was actively involved in politics. It was the late 70s. I was born in 1975, and the liberation struggle was towards its end. So my father was a political activist with ZAPU. He strongly supported Joshua Nkomo. And my mother was also involved in the political party. So people used to gather at my family home for political meetings for ZAPU. Not only that, from around 1979, my own father was elected as the chairman for all the colliery workers. So he was the workers' committee chairperson for all the entire. So we're not talking about this colliery.
Okay.
Around 1980, on the colliery had about 5,000 workers. Today it is less than 1,800 workers. So this was colliery in its heyday. So my dad used to be the workers' committee chairman for about 15 years, from 1979 to about 1991. Every year he was re-elected as the chairman for all the workers.
Wow.
So as a child, before I even went to grade 1, I started to see my father working with workers. He was a community leader. I was not just involved with the trade unions, he was also involved with Boy Scouts, the School Development Association. He was involved with the soccer. He had a soccer team called Zulu Royals. Mostly supported by the Nguni communities and the Rele communities. So he was a people's person. So it affected me as a child, especially this trade union background.
Wow, that's really, so now we can actually see a trend from you, seeing the people as the workers, seeing the people in the community, also growing with the father figure that was actually a role model to you, seeing how you worked with people, so that we can see it really inspired you to also work with people and actually be there for the community. Wow, that's a very good one. It's actually nice to know a person from that perspective, because you just say too many people are just going in politics and this and that.
Yeah.
So by seeing you in that motivational, it's good. So hence I think that's where came the Workers' Day phrase from the fathers, the famous one.
The famous quote.
Yes.
That's about the quote.
Yes, it's true. You know, when I went to Fletcher High School, they have what call the junior council elections.
All right.
I found myself fascinated by it, and I contested to be junior councillor for the city of Gwero.
Wow.
I did not win. They needed 5 councillors from my school. I was number 6. But it was a sign. It's in Zimbabwe, they say when I went to the UZ, within the 4th month of my state campus, I was already a candidate for the SRC.
Wow.
Yeah. And because of my trade union childhood, I was so confident and assertive that everyone did not even notice that I was the first year. So in my 7th month at campus, I contested in the elections. And in my 8th month at campus, I was Secretary General of all the students at the University of Zimbabwe.
Wow, so that
in my first year at law school.
So that shows he had the skills in the hands. He's putting out the schemes.
Yeah.
So from a first year to actually be motivating older people and not seeing the difference. Yeah. So we can tell that this is where you're actually heading.
Yes.
So it's in the right direction. It was in the thread of life, knowing that one day you'll be a political person.
Yes.
So that's very, very nice, man. So
welcome to Doves. You have arrived at a unique service dedicated to honouring lives and supporting families during their most difficult times. As you make your way here, keep an eye out for our signature branding, a symbol of care and respect that signifies our commitment to serving you. At Doves, we pride ourselves on our swift responses. Your calls are answered with empathy and urgency, ensuring you feel supported every step of the way. Our welcoming receptionists are here to greet you with a smile, ready to assist and guide you through our services with compassion and understanding. Explore our cascade options, designed to honour your loved ones in a way that reflects their unique journey. Each option is crafted with care, allowing you to celebrate their life beautifully.
Seeing Hwange itself, how do you think you can impact Hwange, and how do you feel being motivated and doing something big for Hwange?
Okay, so I'll answer you in two parts. In 2017, on the last Saturday of March, visiting Hwange here, I was working for an international organization. I was based in Johannesburg. So I came here after 5-6 years without being here, and I was at conference at Victoria Falls. So I came to see my father's grave and to see some relatives. So the Hwange I saw on that day really broke my heart. As someone who grew up in Hwange in the late 70s and 80s, it was a complete version. It had run down. It was like a shadow of its former self. And I was living in a different world in South Africa, but I was so affected by it. Later that day, I happened to meet the headmaster, the former headmaster of my primary school, and then with other elders, and they started to ask me, what are you doing here? I said, I'm just visiting. So, but we used to be in politics at the university. Why not in politics now? I said, no, I'm now civil society and I'm in South Africa. Then they said, why don't you become our next MPs? Anyway, next year. I'm like, wow, it's not this. Come on, you can become. So that's how it started. They asked me, and then later that day, I also saw some youth, some of them that I grew up with, and they said, why don't you come back to Zimbabwe and become a parliamentarian? So that's how the seed was sown. I went back to Joburg. And I spoke to my wife and to my daughter and said, about a month or two later, we came all of us from South Africa to a public meeting. And then my wife and daughter realized that the people of Hwange were serious about it. The turnout at the Ndolo was so big. So it was like I had been reborn through my own death. So what motivated me at that time was to say, let Hwange rise from the ashes that I see. And having learned from Johannesburg, Johannesburg is originally a gold mining town, but it is now a commercial and industrial city. Right. So I said Hwange also needed to learn from Johannesburg to stop relying on the coal, because the lifeblood of the town was the Hwange Colliery Company. And the Hwange Colliery Company you see today is far better than the one that was there in 2017. It had really gone down. There were women protesting at the general office for about 100 days. People were in salary arrears, everything had collapsed. So the Hwange Colliery you see today is still not as good as the one I grew up with, but it's better than the one I found. Yes. So I said Hwange needs to stop depending on the coal. The coal is no longer the asset, it has become a liability. So just like Johannesburg, which no longer depends on the gold, it now depends on commercial and what? Industrial. For example, Johannesburg, it's got companies like MultiChoice from Randburg. It's a global company, it's got MTN, Vodacom. These are global companies, and they make a lot of money. Pick and Pay, ShopRite, they discover, they make a lot of money, but they're not a mineral, but they go international, and that's how they make money. Can you imagine in Hwange alone, how many people are using DS Studio? It's a company from South Africa, it's a company from Johannesburg. So I wanted Hwange to move. At that time, my dream was Hwange should stop relying on coal and become a commercial and industrial city, because it's the biggest town in March North is a very rural province. So instead of having a short-term reliance on coal, we are supposed to move away. Today, after having a lot of understanding of the politics of the country, it's a dream that I can only push as a politician, because the other bigger and more influential politicians don't see Hwange in those terms.
Okay.
So maybe later in life, if I grow in my political stature, I will go back to say, let's transform Hwange into a commercial and industrial city, deliberately coming up with policies that make people come and invest here in Hwange, because Hwange already has the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Do you know that in most of the concession areas, there are buildings that are lying idle?
Wow.
A lot of them go to number 1, go to number 2, go to number 3, because the company has scaled down on its operations. Those buildings can be converted. If you go to Johannesburg, if you go to Maboneng Precinct, if you go to Newtown, to Braamfontein, you will see that they rebuilt the old sites that has been abandoned by the mining. And they are now for tourism, they are now for entertainment industry. You go there to Newtown, you're like, wow, Newtown looks old. Yes, it's old. They just refurbished it. So I remember looking at the old power station when Yaradza is there, saying that could be an area where one can build a museum to document the history of the coal mining town and transforming it to a big city. So where we are today is more on the side of fighting for incorporation, where we are saying, let the era of the coal concession companies come to an end, because we have an anomalous situation where, from the local government point of view, we are only recognizing 4 of our 15 wards, which is this ward, Ward 4, and Ward 1, and Ward 5, and Ward 6. A little bit of Ward 7. The rest of the wards are under the companies.
Wow.
So now we want incorporation to happen where you mix those two with the local board. Then the town status changes automatically. Instead of being a local board, it becomes a town council with a mayor and a clerk. Because it's like the way education system is, there's primary, secondary, high school. So you start with local board, town council, then city council. So the higher you go, the more independent you become. So let's say you're a city council, Bulawayo. You can actually do direct policies with other countries. You can go to South Africa, you can go to America, you can have twin cities and so on. You can have investment conferences. So the bigger the authority, the more freedom it has. But the smaller it is, like Hwange local board, the more it is under the Ministry of Local Government. So for Hwange to fully grow and achieve this potential, we have to recognize the other wards which are currently not being recognized. But from an election point of view, we have a problem. Because ZEC has recognized those wards. Yeah. So councillors in the concession areas, they are not similar to those in the local government, because the companies control the system. There are no ratepayers. So this needs to come to an end. So I'm a strong supporter to say, let the concession areas be recognized, and Hwange becomes a town council, and then we focus on a strategy of saying, how do you grow this town without relying on coal? Because it now is a population, it now is got the potential industrial commercial base. For example, it's got mango trees, which you can create a mango industry out of dried mango fruits, mango juice. Yes. Then it's a very hot town, but it's got the Zambezi River close by. It's got a high water table. So we can start a water bottling company. Just a few weeks ago, I think last week, I went to Pick and Pay and I found that there was no bottled water. Because we buy bottled water from Harare and Bulawayo. So that's what we mean on saying transforming the town from being a dying coal mining town into a commercial, thriving commercial industrial city, where you take the obvious things that Hwange has got and you start. Like you can start a brick molding industry, a clay industry, all these kind of things. Selling bricks alone is actually a big business.
So judging by this, I can tell this is mainly your major focus on Hwange. It is actually a major project you have. It's a bigger project you have in your mind since 2017, I can tell.
Yeah.
You have been seeing this happening and making, this is actually a great idea, making Hwange not just a local board community, but making it maybe a city council and a city local.
From town council to city council.
So by this, it actually creates more business opportunities for people to even come by. And we even have robots in town now, and just incorporating all those words into one, it actually makes it a very big
Also remember that the local government budget system, including the devolution funds, they see this big town as a local board, which means the way they look at Binga Center, the way they look at Lupani Center, Nkai Center, Cholocho Center. Yet Victoria Falls is a city and it's smaller than one.
Very small.
So the budget goes according to your size, and the size that they see is less than half of the town. That's where the biggest challenge is.
So you just mentioned that. That's gave me another great idea. So how about the CDF? How is the community really responding to this?
Okay.
Since you mentioned it now.
Yeah. When I came to Hwange, the previous MP was avoiding accountability and transparency. I remember the Greater Hwange Trust chasing after him. I even attended a meeting where they were trying to pin him down to account for the CDF. But when I saw that happening, goes on from civil society, I said, it actually should be the opposite. You should not wait for the community, you should go to the community.
Yes.
So since 2018, I have a WhatsApp group on CDF. Right now it's got over 400 members.
Wow.
Where I consult and I also account on CDF. But I also do public meetings. Before we identify a project, we call for public meetings.
Wow.
This year we've gone to another level. We're one of the last constituencies to get the CDF for 2024. It came at the end of 2025.
Wow.
And I said, even though it's not in the CDF constitution, because I believe a lot in devolution,
yes.
Because we complain North is being marginalized by Harare and the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Hwange is being marginalized. For example, now it's producing a lot of coal and electricity, but most of these resources go to the north. So now with the CDF, I also say, even though it's a constituent fund, let me try to engage the local government. So this particular year, we have worked strongly. We are our first, because the money is small, we said for the first project, we'll focus on the local board wards.
Yes.
And then I reached out to the councillors and I reached out and said, can you also bring about the development committee? So we are working with all the councillor and the ward development committee. And then we added another extra layer. We were saying, let's have ward level public consultation meetings.
Wow.
So the project that was identified is water power or solar powered bowls with a Jojo tank and also some nutritional garden. So that's what we're busy implementing at the moment. And since I came back to Zimbabwe, or since I became a parliamentarian, this is the CDF project that has been well received more than any other, and it has made me feel so loved, so admired, so popular. It's shocking how much excited I am right now. I'm not scared of walking in the streets of Hwange because people are waiting at me. Honourable, we are happy. Remember that Hwange local body has a serious problem of water. The current arrangement between Hwange local body and Zinwa is not good for the residents. Water is always shut down. And now we also hear that the new owners of ZESA or ZPC, there will be an issue around water because it's been bought over by the Indians.
Yes.
So there's going to be a water crisis in this town. So I'm against planting balls in an urban area, but this is the reality. I stay in Hwange, and I can tell you that almost every day water is closed.
It's always closed. Yes.
So if there is a practical solution, there is a solution. So if in my ward here, it was the first ward to receive the drilling of the bore, and it's now functional. And I mean, I'm like other politicians. I can just walk freely, knowing that every time I walk,
can take a stroll.
people will be praising me. Honourable Manyama, what?
That's really
So don't call for the election now, because I'm going to win. I'm going to win.
Yes, actually, unfortunately, I can also attest to that because I'm with the church ministry, if you've heard about it.
Yes,
I'm also under the apostle there. So we actually saw the project of four was being laid, which is actually a good thing in the community.
Yes.
And I can tell the people are responding very well. Also from your testimony, it says that it's been happening. So really, that's really a good idea and a good initiative that you actually started with, and we're actually proud in that way. And a person from also Hwange, I can also tell you're actually going somewhere. Maybe just some few questions.
Absolutely. Okay, honourable.
Honourable, right?
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to ask, what has been your biggest achievement since you came into office for Whange Central?
In my first term, I tried to push the people to change their mindsets. As someone who's been exposed to Harare, to Bulawayo, to Cape Town, to Johannesburg, I realized that people from Hwange, their mindset was that they were always waiting, relying, and I wanted them to be more independent, more assertive. I tried to promote people to have income generating projects. I tried to promote people to start their own businesses. Looking at the low hanging fruits like the mango tree, because Hwange is just a big farm. I grew up in Hwange with mango trees, and I didn't know that they were commercial fruits. But when I lived in towns like Johannesburg, I realized that we're actually a big mango farm. In Johannesburg, an average child sees mangoes from a shop, not from a home. So Then when I realized that most of these things, since I'm in opposition, I'm not in government, they're not working, I started to shift more towards the people themselves, to mentoring people, to encouraging people. That's one of the reasons why I set up the Molokele Law Chambers, which is a very historic law firm, because this town was set up over 100 years ago. And since it was set up, there has not been someone who was born and raised in Hwange setting up a law firm in Hwange. All the law firms you see here, the people who set them up are not from Hwange. The people who own the law firms are not from Hwange. So I'm the first lawyer who was born and raised in Hwange to open a law firm. This one. So what I wanted the people of Hwange to realize that let's not limit our dreams.
Let's not be dependent.
If you come to Hwange, you ask for a supermarket, it's owned by someone who's not from Hwange. You go for an agri shop, it's the same. You go for a surgery, for a pharmacy. Almost everyone who owns a business in this town is not originally from Hwange.
Yeah, true.
So that's the mindset shift we need to do. We must stop waiting for others to start businesses or create employment. We must stop complaining, they are bringing people from other towns. You know, in Shona, they say Chawana and Jane Hama. So if your Mzukuru is not working in Masvinga and you've started a business, why would you want to employ someone who is not related to you? It's your business, it's a private company. So you would rather employ your Mzukuru, come Mzukuru, then the Hwange people complain. But they are not even sitting down and seeing the business opportunities that are in their town. You come from Harare, you realize that in Harare this is a business, in Bulaya this is a business. So you see the market and you go for it. So I went to another place where they were cooking meals somewhere in Whange. And the lady who was doing the meals, she's not from Hwange, I think she's from Hwange. Just to cook meals. So you come all the way from Hwange to sell food.
Yes.
Like sadza, nyama, and whatever. And that's someone from Hwange can do that. But let's see your mind. You want to be employed by someone who is cooking lunch.
Coming from another.
And they come to Hwange not planning to set up that business. Then while they're trying to look for opportunities, they saw the gap with the construction workers there, with where they can't afford the meals that they're selling a chicken in. Civil servants look at their low salaries. Then you sell the $2 meals. And people say, this is more natural food than the chicken and chips that. And then suddenly you have a business. And you're now employing people and they now ask you, why employing this one is not from Hwange. It's my little sister, it's my cousin. So what should I do? I'm just following what I was taught, which is something to share.
Which is very good. It's actually a good thing.
So let's stop complaining.
And start doing
Yes. So the mindset is still a problem. You know, in the Hwange Colliery area, when the company employs you, it gives you a house and it gives you the size of the house depending on your job. So the higher you grow in the company, the more rooms they give you, give you a bigger salary, they give you more benefits, give you water, electricity, healthcare, education. So after 20, 30 years working with the colliery, you live with nothing. So someone working somewhere else, my own dad, spent most of his life here in Hwange, but the last 5 years, he was transferred to the marketing team in Bulawayo. Within the first year that he went to Bulawayo, he bought a house in Makadem. That's where my mom is staying.
Wow.
But if he had stayed in Hwange, I doubt if he had bought a mortgage home. Here, people just stay in town until they get forced out the train, then they go to the rural areas.
So that mentality of relying on someone, some company, it has to move, it has to change, which is actually a good initiative.
But let's qualify our statement. Since I came back to Zim, the Hwange colliery that I grew up with and the one that I see, they are not the same. So the level of dependence syndrome that I was familiar with as a child is gone. And most people used to work for the colliery have been retrenched. And if you come here to the local board, especially Ward 6, Ward 5, you will see a lot of former colliery employees. So we have seen a shift where even those who are still working for the colliery now have residential scans, which as a primary school boy, it never happened. Someone from the colliery, here's the scan at local board. The average person didn't care for 20, 15 years working for the colliery. If you are removed from the company, you have nowhere to go. Rural areas. If you are from Malawi, go to Malawi. We even had a case where if you're a pensioner, you would struggle to leave the town. Until the pension money ended, the company would have to put you out, go to Malawi, go to Zambia. Because you had not been to your country since.
And you've been leaving.
And you don't have the house in the local board. Company gave you everything.
What to give.
You know,
Yeah.
you didn't own anything. Company gave you everything. What the company gave you, eventually, they took away everything.
Wow. So just a quick question. Let's say on the projects that you're working on, you mentioned the water crisis and the water bore installation that is actually underway. I can attest to that. So what other projects do you think that you can do maybe the next 6 to 7 months to come?
Yeah.
What really are you like focusing on, and any meetings that you could attend into?
Okay.
Maybe recent or later?
So with the Constituents Development Fund, in my first 5 years before the executive limitation in February 2023, I had 3 raw awards and about what was it, 12 urban ones. Yeah. So what happened now is I went about 14 urban ones and 3 raw awards. So what happened is after the February 2023 limitation, those 3 raw awards were taken to Hwange East. So now I've got 15 ones, all of them are urban ones. So Whange Central is the only constituency. We've got 13 constituencies in Madnon, and it's the only constituency that is 100% urban. So under the second term, we started in August 2023. We have changed the system because in the first term we say we rotate annually. If the CDF for this year goes to the rural wards, the next one goes to the urban ones. Okay. Then now in the new system, we are saying if the CDF goes to the local board wards, next year it goes to what? To the concession wards. So the first time we've got CDF is now. So it's under what? The local board.
The first time?
Yes. The CDF is delayed by 3 years. The last time we got it was in 2022.
Oh.
So the first batch that we've got is going to the local board. So now, later this month, we're having a public meeting, tentatively on Saturday, the 28th of February. We're having a public meeting at the #1 colliery where we're calling all local residents in Hwange to come over there. We're going to give a feedback on the final report of the 2024 project, which we was mostly focusing on Hwange local board. And then the second part of the meeting, we are going to ask the residents to suggest a universal, high-impact, low-cost project affecting more of the what? Concession ones. So I've already reached out to the councillors in the concession areas, start using your WhatsApp group, start using your development committees to consult on project ideas. Because the money is very small. Officially, it's about $50,000, but it's paid out in ZIG. So, like ours, when it eventually was converted at a rate of 36, it was less than 41,000. I think it was 30,000. Because the official rate is 26. So, we are hoping at the end of this month, the residents, I've said to the councillors, let's mobilize. I'm even willing to look for money and resources for each councillor to have a delegation towards the meeting. If they can fill up a committee from each ward, so I'm hoping it will be the biggest public consultation meeting on the CDF in the history of this town.
Wow. So the next meeting that we're looking forward to, 28th, it's actually a very important
public meeting.
That would be very good.
Yes. So we'll come up with project ideas. Normally we shortlist 3 ideas. Because after you've chosen, you say option 1, option 2, option 3. Then you go to Harare where the CDF committee a parliament looks at the project and then say this one is good, this one is a problem. For example, in my first CDF project in 2019, we identified the need to fund a Hwange Community Radio initiative. So we asked them to come up with a budget, and we submitted the budget to buy the equipment for the what? For the community radio. We knew it was a low cost and the what? A high impact, because it was going to promote development, because Hwange is excluded from the traditional media, especially ZBC Chronicle Herald.
Yes.
Which explains why we now have Hwange Chronicles, is to address that problem of local news, local content. So the Parliament of Zimbabwe said, because the Ministry of Communications has got its own initiatives around community radio projects. This is not necessarily the kind of project that Parliament should
also be.
So they said start again. So they may not approve. So you have first option, second option, and third option. And then that should come from the meeting. So it's another important principle that I need to highlight, especially to the young viewers.
Yes.
When it comes to community development, it's not enough to be active on social media platforms. When councillors, when authorities call for public meetings, young people are nowhere to be seen. Even here in local board areas, they do what you call budget consultation meetings. Young people are nowhere to be seen. But on WhatsApp, they are there. But then they ask residents, can you give us your feedback? What are the issues? What are we proposing this? What's your feedback? Then those will be at that meeting, they make the decision.
70-year-old person, 80-year-old person.
Then 6 months later, the local board is implementing resolutions based on the budget consultation. Then you start saying, this is not fair, this is not. But we advertised when the meeting was being held, it wasn't being held in a hotel, it was maybe at a school. It was like free to enter. You were watching Generations, you were watching a soapy. I can't miss this soapy, you're busy on Twitter. So we want to encourage our youth, not only to attend public meetings, but also to make sure that when there's an opportunity for election, or to be in the Ward Development Committee, most of the Ward Development Committees in this town, there is no young people. There is no young people at all. So people are making decisions that will affect your future. And for information, it's not like it's highly competitive to be Ward Development Committee members. Other Ward Development Committees are not functional because they lack active members. So youths should not complain that they are being left behind.
Yes.
Because the space to participate is there.
How possible is it for Hwange to actually have something like a youth center? Because I feel like Hwange youth center, they lack activity, to be honest. There's nothing to do in Hwange. Like, if there was something like a center, you were in South Africa, in Johannesburg, they have centers, whether in Europe where the youth can go, there's arts, there's sports, there's boxing, there's a lot that goes into building the youth. So I feel as if Hwange, as people, as small as it is, there's still a lot of space for us to improve and maybe do something so that the youth actually has activity. Because now it's a weekend, we are seeing most of the time now youth are drinking in the afternoon, 12 p.m., 1 p.m., Njengu, others they into drugs, crystal meth. So how can we go about it as Hwange? How can
let me answer you this. I feel very disappointed. Because in my first term, I actually had thematic WhatsApp groups for women, for youth, for disability, and so on, for sports. And then I started to call for thematic public meetings. I did call a meeting for young people. There was a poor turnout. Those young people came. I said, elect a leadership, what we call the Office of the MP Hwange Youth Advisory Committee. So they elected a committee. The committee was not as functional because I said, you are the young people. You should come up with ideas. You should consult with other young people. As the MP, I will be supporting you so that I become more relevant to the youth needs. The committee was not functional. The youth were not participating. The WhatsApp group was there. It was not as active. So I realized that there is no culture of participation in civil affairs. Most youth are engaged with the more on the side of donations and handouts, but not taking charge. Because I believe the most important change is at policy level. For example, if youth are participating, they can influence the Hwange local board budget to allocate money towards youth entertainment. For example, each ward is supposed to get 5% of its budget for development projects, which is not happening in this town. According to local government law, ratepayers are entitled to 5% of their annual budget by the municipality for development activities. So that kind of thing, it can come through youth participation and they say, let's say what, this center funded by what? By the development budget. Not only that, Hwange local board receives devolution funds. And if youth are participating, they will also influence. Because we're talking about CDF, but it's nothing compared to what? Devolution funds. It's nothing compared to another fund called the District Development Fund. These funds are bigger than the CDF. But there's no public engagement of those funds, and young people are not seen. So I think the biggest challenge, in my second term, we started doing, towards the end of my first term, we saw a youth organization, Hwange Economic Youth Empowerment Initiative. We did an MOU with them to say, we're struggling to officially, formally engage young people, but you are also targeting the young people. So we identified them as a partner to help us engage the youth. So far in my second term, it hasn't been as vibrant as I would have wanted, because I wanted them to do what the Youth Advisory Committee was supposed to do. Because in my second term, there is no advisory committee for young people. Because I realized after 5 years that this plan is not working. So I think you should approach the Hwange Youth Empowerment initiative and challenge them on these questions and saying, we met the MP and he said he has an MOU and he's still challenging him to show leadership. Not only that, I'm a parliamentary youth champion, so I've got access to youth networks in Harare. And in my first term, I tried rigorously to say to those organizations, come to Hwange and come to do initiatives. But they were struggling to get that support on the ground. Not only that, when they were having activities where they were consulting young people, they always struggled to have delegates from Much North, from Hwange. So I was also volunteering to say, I can even pay for the young people from Hwange to attend the meeting in Mulawa, so that the voice of Much North or the voice of Hwange is heard. But that needs an active youth organization to do that. Because most of the time it's always short notice. You'll be like on a Thursday morning, then they say we have a workshop on Sunday. We want 2 delegates from Much North or from Hwange. Then you go to that organization, their turnaround time to get a youth who is available to go to Harare for 2 nights or whatever. So we get excluded sometimes not because they are excluding us, but because we are just far away. You know, Harare and Hwange, 800 kilometers. Using extra seat is almost 16 hours.
Yes.
Someone leaves Hwange to go to Harare, they can spend almost a day and a half on the road.
Wow.
So we need young people to get more organized. And I think I will challenge you to go to the organization. I'm sure it can get a lot of support. Because right now there's Ministry of Youth.
Yes.
And what is it doing? And I always tell people, you can't go to a minister and ask it what it's doing. You must come up with ideas. And then go to the ministry and say, where's Hwange youth? These are our ideas. Help us. Then they will say, okay, we have a budget of this. Maybe let's approach other ministries like communications, they have a budget. Or ICT, they have a budget. Because ICT has a budget for public centers for communications, Wi-Fi facilities and so on. We launched 1 year, 1 year, 2, 3 years ago. I wonder how many young people are using it.
Do they even know?
The minister came to Hwange and launched the communication center. So you will see that before we agonize as young people, we must start to organize as young people and say, what is it that you want? Is it related to entertainment, to arts? For example, in my first term, I actually reached out to the arts community and I took 3 workshops for them.
All right.
And I realized there was Hwange, what was that? There's an organization for Hwange artists and it was dysfunctional. I tried to put them to have a proper AGM, to have a proper membership. The leadership was never elected regularly. It was just dysfunctional and we couldn't work together. But we've got Shangano Arts, Mr. Petros and Logo, who tried to support him. But he was more functional than the organization itself. So, at the end of the day, and this is something I want to encourage our viewers, a lot of people in Zimbabwe, they have this ability to complain.
Yes.
And it's a mindset that needs to be shifted.
True.
You must have initiatives and then call for support. And there's a parliamentarian. I'm excited about people coming to me with ideas. So the door is open. If you're an artist, if you're a person with disability, if you're a young man, if you're a woman, or another marginalized community like youth, then you get organized and say, Honourable, then I can look for a company, I can look for a government department, I can look for an embassy, an international organization that is focused on your area to support you. So there are a lot of thematic groups. I didn't mention some of them. There was one for albinos, there was one for and I have access to the networks. But their community was not functional. We would even pay for transport, we would pay for refreshments for the community to meet, but it will still struggle with the quorum. And then there will be people with sun lotions and what prevent cancer for albinos. And I said, I can't just receive donations. I need an active committee that then is a proper database. I wanted each ward to have a ward coordinator.
Yes.
Then they create the database so that if an organization in Harare says, Honourable, we've got sunburn, skin lotion for albino community. How much quantity should you give? I just say to the committee, can you communicate to the wards? And then after a few days, they say, in Ward 1, there are many people. In Ward 2, then I say, total number of beneficiaries is 27.
Yes.
Then I submit the request to the organization. But now, if they give me, I have no idea how many albinos I have in Hwange. But they are there, I see them. And some of them I can see that they're being exposed. So it's not like there's a problem. There are big organizations in this country that are getting funding to fight skin cancer for albinos. So it's not like they they are not there. But they can't serve the whole of Zimbabwe. So those who are organized enough can collect the boxes. I brought boxes from Harare myself as them.
Okay.
I've done it once or twice, but I can do it more often. But if I go to the WhatsApp group for the Albino Association for the last year, at first I would complain, how far with your meetings, how far? Then I realized that I'm not an albino. They should be the ones who should be the ones. No, they're paying. They're buying these things.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're not supposed to do that.
So this has been great, sir, and it's actually good to see the insight of how our member of parliament and our honourable, especially from the community, yourself growing up here, being inspired by your father, and so many good initiatives you're doing, and the good advice you're giving the young people. This is what we needed as Hwange Chronicles, to actually tell the people, no, this is your minister, this is your honourable, this is how he thinks, this is how he functions. So most people will be scared to come, like, oh, maybe this guy. So as a team, you said, no, let's go and have a little bio and an insight on how we can actually develop as Hwange with our minister.
Do you know I forgot something?
Yes.
If you are talking to the young people next time, wherever you find them,
Yes.
tell them that the honourable is saying, when you've got your activities, there is no harm in you inviting.
Yes.
Because that's another area of weakness.
Yes.
Yes.
Just invite the honourable.
Yeah.
Even if he's not coming, the office of the MP's staff will come there. That's how some of the issues will be addressed. Because when you have a relationship with people, you see their situation, you see their determination. But they do activities, you are not there, you don't even know what's happening.
going on?
So I'm challenging them with it. Even if I don't come in person, someone else from the office will come, but it will make me kept abreast with what's really happening. And it helps me. Even when I'm in Harare, what I will say, I know there is a youth network that is dealing with this. Let me link them with these guys. Let me ask them to knock on the door. So because I'm updated, I know what's happening. So as a parliamentarian, I'm more stronger if I'm invited. And this point does not affect you young people only. All other thematic groups that we have in our community.
Yes.
They should not even hesitate to invite, whether it's a netball team, whether they should just say, come. Not say, MP, 1-8 balls for this weekend.
For what?
It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a process.
No,
It's been really great, nice experience as Hwange Chronicles from the community, given the news each and every time. You heard it yourself, ladies and gentlemen. The MP is here for you and for you, the Hwange people. So you have to be very, very initiative. You have to have a new mindset, and you have to be that guy who's there, especially the young people out here. I was actually here for the young people. She was there for the young people. So as the young people out there, and he said, whenever I see you, change your mindset and buy the MP. Is not a lion that you should be afraid of. He's one of us. He grew up here. He has this much love for doing so much great work. You heard yourself, the borehole, the water crisis is about to be upon us. And we have so many things that we discussed right here, telling about the city council itself being a city council, not just a local board. As you heard it yourself, the budget is according to what you quote. So if it's a local board, we're as much as bingo, we're as much as anything, but we're a bigger town as it is. So you have yourself, guys.
Later this year will become Hwange Town Council.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So guys, this has been great. I myself, Garrett Kawada, and
Shamin Vera. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Honourable.
we're from Hwange Chronicles, and thank you for your time, Honourable. We'll have another segment in time to come. Hopefully we'll be there on the 28th of February. Get the date straight, where you having the MP himself actually giving transparency on the CDF, on things that we're planning as a town. So be there and check it on the timeline. Thank you very much.
Okay.